Hi guys, Ashley here from the ZombieQueen. Just wanted to do a review for you today on Night of the Living Dead by George Romero and John Russo. This movie was like a low budget movie that was amazing for the time and for the expenses that they put in. The actors, this is totally character driven art here. There are not very many characters. It starts out with a girl named Barbara and her brother Johnny going through the cemetery to put a wreath on her father's grave. And some things happen where he jokes around with her, and all of a sudden there's an undead person that is following her around and chasing her, and her brother fights him, and she's so scared she runs away, not knowing that her brother falls and hits his head and he's unalived. But she runs to this farmhouse, and all the time the unalived person from the cemetery is chasing her, and she gets inside, and she's so in shock. It's insane how great of an actress this young woman is. She's in shock, and she shows it. She runs around the house and sees a skull upstairs of a woman, and she gets scared and runs away. And as she's trying to leave the house, she runs into a man face to face with the lights of the vehicle blinding her, and all she sees is him. He pushes her back in the house, and they start to prepare themselves, which is my favorite part of all zombie movies. Of course, Barbara's not much help. She's still in shock and doesn't realize what's going on. But the main character, Ben, he comes in to save the day. He boards up the house, he gets the food together, and as he's looking, he finds a gun, then he finds more bullets, and all this time he's just trying to keep Barb from going insane, trying to get her to help, which she's not much. And next thing you know, two people pop up from the cellar, and Barbara had noticed the door earlier, but she's in shock and doesn't put two and two together that there's a door there. People pop out. It's a man named Mr. Cooper, or Harry Cooper, and a young boy named Tommy. And also down in the basement is Tommy's girlfriend, Judy, and Harry's wife, Helen, and their daughter, Karen. It tells you their stories of how they got to be in the house. The young couple, Tommy and Judy, they're locals, and they run to the house when they hear what's going on, and they find a woman dead. And later on come the couple, the Coopers, Harry and Helen, and their daughter Karen. They say that their car got tipped over by these people, and their daughter got grabbed and hurt. They don't tell you till much later that she was bitten. Once it says on the radio and everywhere that it's such a horrible thing to be bitten. The radios tells you first, basically, just like they would, oh, we don't know what's going on. There's mass hysteria, and basically just stay where you are. And then later on, they tell you to leave where you are and go to these centers for help. And then they say, don't go to the centers for help. So basically, it all revolves around these young people trying to survive. And Mr. Cooper wants to stay in the basement, and Ben wants to stay upstairs. Well, the reason Ben pulled to the house to begin with is he saw a gas pump outside, but it was locked. So he figured he'd go to the house and maybe the people there would have some gas to help him because his truck is out of gas. Well, everybody in the house starts looking for the keys, and they find some down in the basement. And they're like, oh, well, these must be the keys. So everybody decides what they're going to do is Mr. Harry's going to go upstairs with some glass bottles with some kerosene in it and throw down some Molotov cocktails on the zombies or the undeads because they're afraid of fire. And maybe that will help them, the other people, to get out the door. So Ben and Tommy decide that they're going to run out to the truck, start the truck, go up, get some gas, come back and get everyone else. Well, as Mr. Cooper is throwing the Molotovs, Judy decides that she's going to go with them, and she runs out the front door and she jumps in the truck, which surprisingly she does get there. But as everybody pulls away, Mr. Cooper locks the door And something horrible happens after that. I don't really want to tell you the whole movie and how it ends, but I do have to say that I love the fact that the human condition of how we're going to act in serious situations, because everyone acts different and we all think different things are important. And for me, I've got a different rank, a little bit of a ranking system that I decided I was going to start doing. I'm going to rate on the characters, the preparations that they take, the gore or the horror aspect of it, the overall story, if the story is good or not, and my personal love or dislike of a movie or piece of art, whatever you would like to call it. Okay, from 1 being poor and 5 being the best. The characters in this, I give them a rating 4 because all the characters are true to their character the entire time. Barb's always spacey and in shock, and Ben's always strong-willed and charismatic, and Mr. Cooper, he's the guy you don't really like to be around that talks down to his wife. His wife is the mother who tries to take care of her sick child at the time, and Judy just loves her little boyfriend Tommy, and Tommy just loves his girlfriend Judy. So the characters in this, I'm going to give them a 4. They're pretty good, especially for the time. I like it. Preparations, I'm going to give a 5 because not all movies of this genre of undead or zombies, they don't really show the preparations and what they do and getting their food together, nailing things on the house. The catch-22 of that. It's loud and it's going to bring in other walkers or undeads or zombies, whatever you want to call them. It's going to bring them in. So I give that a 5 because their preparations were good. They talked about everything between guns and food and everything. The overall gore and horror for the time of this show, it was very scary. Everybody just loved it. It was a whole new type of horror genre, which George Romero and John Russo, they didn't even copyright this. So years later, they had to go back and try to keep the Undead, Night of the Living Dead for themselves because they didn't want no one else to be able to write about them, which is awesome but sad because they've missed out on a lot of income because of the zombie rage of nowadays. Overall story, I give it a 5. I'm sorry. The gore rating, I give it a 4 because for the time it was great, but you don't really see a lot of blood, but you do see a lot of dazed people walking around doing horrible, scary things, and they're a little bit smarter. They use tools, they destroy lights, they're afraid of fire, they do like when they get hit, they grab. So the gore is scary, especially for the time. They don't know what happened. They're blaming it on a meteor, and then other doctors say, no, that's not it. My personal love of this story, as you can see, is like a 5. I love the story. The overall story is a 5, and my personal love is a 5. So, character 4, preparations 5, gore 4, overall story 5, and my personal love 5. So out of 25 points, Night of the Living Dead gets 23 points. So I say definitely watch. If you love Walking Dead or any kind of zombie movie, this is where it all began. To me, this is where my life of horror and love of zombies started. I got this movie for like my 17th birthday, and it's like my go-to. I watch it all the time. I love it. But there are a bunch of different Night of the Living Dead like rip-offs and even other versions of it that George Romero and John Russo did, and Tom Savini does makeup on so many of them, and I'm going to be showing you a bunch of different ones. I hope that you enjoyed my first real review. I know I'm kind of scattered and all over the place, but hopefully you stick around here with me. Give me a like, subscribe, and share with your friends, because I'm going to keep doing these, especially if anybody comments with me or shows me what they want to talk about. Because, of course, we will be doing The Walking Dead eventually. But I just wanted to start with my favorite, George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. And I will be doing more. I've been thinking about doing some audiobooks because I do listen to those quite a bit. And if you're interested in that, just let me know. This is Ashley Demore at the Zombie Queen here on YouTube. Please hit me up with a like.